Pecha Kucha 181, Think Small. So last week I spoke about Think Small, a book I read that encourages you to enact certain habits to achieve large goals. I did need to give it more than the handful of slides I did, so that's basically what this entire Pecha Kucha is going to be about. A very valuable book, but only if you decide to implement the strategies it contains. It's written by a couple of guys working for the British government to try and improve education, get people into work and all kinds of other things, improve people paying their taxes. This can be applied to personal lives or bigger things, and really what it is that they're talking about is this term they've used called behavioral scaffolding. The idea is that you use what they say, and over time it will help you to achieve your goals by cutting down on the amount of time you spend thinking about these goals and increasing the time you spend doing them. And they mentioned fast and slow thinking systems. The idea is you think slow, you put a lot of effort into thinking about doing something, or it can be reflexal. You do something enough times, you don't think about doing it, you just do it, which is where I am with this Pecha Kucha series, because I've been doing it for years at this point. They also mention in this book that in terms of habit building, it's a very social kind of thing, the way we internalize these things. You will find you will recurrently do the same thing if you're in the same situation, so your actions are triggered by the same situation. So something to think about is changing what you're doing, how you do it, where you do it, and with who. And when they start talking about how do you get on with stuff, the first thing to do is actually decide what it is you want to do and then figure out by what time, and you have to be realistic about that. For me, I've got a long shopping list of stuff I need to do, but really it stops and starts with the Smiley Show. The idea is to have a regular schedule where I put these out somewhere, doesn't matter where, as long as it's regular, and then I push people to them or push them to people. And then once the Smiley Show is taking care of itself, I can start doing other comic book ideas I've got and focus on video editing more. This is definitely a good one. Make your commitment public and write it down. We've all had conversations with friends where you say, I'm going to do that thing. It's like, yeah, not that kind of public commitment. Tell someone that you're afraid of losing their respect if you don't do it, like colleagues at work or distant family members. I'm on 5 Squid selling storyboard services. I've neither got the time nor the skill to do it realistically, but that's a declaration of intent, much like my Pecha Kucha series is. Here I am. I have a public shop. If you want to hire my services, prices and deadlines have been prearranged. Appointing a commitment referee. Have someone hold you accountable for what you've said you're going to do. This is a tough one. I've toyed with this idea for a very long time. I even thought about writing a contract to myself with terms of reward and punishment for breaching it. Who could I use as a commitment referee? The most sensible thing is a work colleague. I did think about the idea of using M. Bison and having to give him progress reports. Or I could use a best buddy of mine, someone who can give me honest feedback and who wants to see me succeed, because they'll get to laugh at the jokes I make, right? Or maybe I do several of the above, right? And again, if you put something meaningful at stake, you use rewards, you have punishments for what you do. That can be motivating. You just have to be confident that you will enforce, or someone else, your commitment referee, will enforce whatever it is you choose to do. And it's a good idea to tap into the people you know and ask for help. Because the more public you make this, the harder it is to back out of. And I've learned that from 5 Squid, from work. We as a species do not like to upset other people. It can be very powerful. And also, I have a Udemy Facebook group I can use. I've always intended to join DeviantArt, so being a part of a community that wants the same thing as you can help you find rivals, encouragement, motivation, and hopefully help with the down times when you just don't want to do anything. It's also quite important to see what you're doing and keep remembering where it is you're trying to go. Being mindful about what it is you're doing, how you're going about it, and if it's working is essential. you need to have a target and you need to know if you're achieving it. And talking about targets, they should be smart. They should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time sensitive. So whatever you decide you're going to do, make sure it's not like, oh, I'm just going to be an astronaut. It's like, for me, it's like, can I do a Smiley Show a week? Well, I can try a few weeks, see if it works. And if not, we can set on a page rate. A risky one for artists is comparing your performance to others. But how do you know if you're achieving anything if you can't see an improvement? For this, you might want to just compare your current work to old work. But if there's someone you want to emulate, by all means, it's not a bad idea to look at what they're doing and see if you can close the gap. And to that effect, practicing with focus and effort. It's not enough to just put the hours in, but it helps to be in the chair. Make sure that if you want to learn anatomy, that you look at anatomy. You don't just guess if the muscles are going in the right place. And whatever you do, however you do it, try and see if it's the most effective way to do things. I did Inktober last year, both to test and learn if I could do it, what would happen when I posted on social media. I learned a lot about me and a lot about the process. It was a very valuable experience, and it was great because it wasn't my deadline. Right, so in conclusion, think small. If you want to take the brunt of the book, pick a goal, declare it publicly, break it down into small, manageable targets, and then start going for them. Try and see if you can find a way to reward good success and punish failure. It can be as simple as you reward yourself with your favorite takeaways at the end of the week, or you punish yourself by having to do something in your best interest that you regard as awful, like you got to clean the house or something, do a deep clean. Ask for help and feedback. Use your social network, your friends, use the internet, use Facebook groups, DeviantArt, whatever, to put yourself in the circle of people who can help you get where you're trying to go. Practice, test, and learn, and that goes with the feedback. Do what you're doing, and then check if it's working, because like the previous book I read, Peak, that's literally all that book was about. Make sure your practice is actually profitable. And then when you do find you're making progress towards your goals, celebrate that success. Try and get some kind of memento to link psychologically, because a lot of this is about how your brain deals with these things. You do them long enough, you create certain neural mapping in your brain. It's easier to do it going forward. So if you link the hard work with the reward at the end, like you decide to go to Disneyland, you go see a sporting event of your choice, go to Comic-Con, go to a social gathering with your friends, whatever. You can have that as the goal, that you're using the work as an excuse to get to, and you can make it not about the work but about the reward. You can trick yourself into doing the thing you want to do and get something out of it that is more agreeable. And then, of course, all of this is designed to ultimately make this stuff habitual. I do believe it is possible. I do believe it takes a lot of work, and the hardest thing of all is the consistency to keep doing it until it becomes less like work and more just like one of those things you regularly do. So, think small. I got a free copy from my library to read. I'll be returning it. I reckon you can probably find this online somewhere as well, either for cheap or free. Read it if you find you're having a lot of ideas you want to do but you never do them. This could help. Again, it's about taking this knowledge and then applying it. I will have a big think about what I want to do, because it's really important to be super specific and then set a target and a deadline. So I'm going to do that for the rest of the day, and we will see if anything happens. But that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 181, and I will see you next time.